Hello, everybody. It is August 29th, 2022. I got to change the title of this. I put the wrong date on there. Actually, I did do the right date. How did I do that? Oh, sorry to jump in there. We're doing this live, so I think out loud and I do it. The date should be wrong on this, but somehow it shows right. But I'll see. I'll fix it up later. Welcome to Immigration Toolbox episode 258, where we talk about U.S. immigration, getting into the details of things I've learned for this week. It's the regular Monday recap that we're doing. So we're going to jump into that. But first and foremost, I want to talk about this conference. So my goal was to get people together. We have a lot of viewers. We have a lot of a community here to get in person and then take things to the next level about how to practice immigration law. Now, we all go to conferences and seminars all the time. And I wanted to really change things to do like a new thing that's much deeper. So my initial thing was, first of all, we're going to just do them a higher end to get better food. And that's my thoughts always go to my stomach first, like how can we make this delicious? And then along with that, just like on this podcast, I actually talk about real practical stuff because you go to these conferences and they say, okay, you got to file form I-130 to this lockbox, or like say, okay, I didn't learn anything there. Like I want to know what problems you have, what mistakes you made, and to bring speakers out go into that so it gets deeper. In particular, the theme of this conference was pretty much the mission statement theme that I had for my law firm for 10 years. It's changed now, but it's to do self-petition type cases to avoid having employer petitions, just let people come and not have to be stuck with employers. So NIWs, EB1As, it could be O's that are self-petition. I didn't do O's, O self-petition style kind of things. L1 where you're doing the company yourself, that kind of stuff. So I prepared in. We got a lot of RSVP, over a dozen people out of state to RSVP'd in just a week or two of talking about this. So probably going to have like 40 people come to do a conference. I thought it was going to be deep and intimate at the same time. But I was talking with Roman Zelchenko, whose own podcast too is good to listen to, and I was like, and just this is not what we talk about all of it, but just without myself. Another mission statement I have for my law firm was to be low volume but deep relationship and deeper kind of connection and more thoughtfulness and spending more time studying law so we could be experts at it, that kind of thing. And like that won't be reflected. We just do the same old with better food and just a little bit better speakers at my conference. And I was like, you know what? Maybe that's having like 5 or 6 subtopics is too much because it doesn't help anyone get into it. Because a lot of people who are coming are people who want to get into employment immigration, or they do like certain categories, but not the others. They want to learn it. Why not just focus on 1 or 2 categories? Like take the O1, for example, and just have, a day where we go through essentially cover letter and RFE and like litigation, just like the beginning to end of an O1. So you leave that feeling. If you've never done an O1 before, if you only done a couple, you can start doing it, add that to your repertoire, your firm, and get that training skill of additional whole additional field rather than just hearing about people talk about some nuances on another type of visa for a day. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be much deeper. It's gonna be required like our speakers who create a curriculum and essentially become like postgraduate studies. Like how college is general, you go to law school is deeper. Well, law school is general, and we got to go deeper into these subtopics. And then I thought a bigger way. I'm like, you know what? This is what I've always wanted to do. I just keep it real with myself. Have smaller groups, maybe even creating a size limit, and doing this where we travel around the country every 3 to 6 months and do these postgraduate seminars, conferences, whatever you want to call it, where we'll talk about, okay, first we talk about O's in LA, then we talk about L1s in Las Vegas, then we go to Colorado, EB1As, Washington, D.C., NIWs. You get the best experts locally and just travel around and do this. So you come in person, have this extensive workshop to really learn a practice field. So you go back home and say, okay, I could add this and advertise this and do consultations on this and that kind of level. And that requires a lot of preparation, which we're doing. But that's what happened. And along with this, because it's more in depth, the fee goes 10x what it was. What I quoted, what my expectation was for that basic conference. So that's going to be 10 times more expensive. But the goal is that you'll learn a practice that's going to give you 100x return, because once you learn how to do an O, then the sky's the limit on all you got to do is do the marketing. And we're going to have a speaker on marketing there anyways. So it's really a next level kind of stuff. It's probably going to get more and more expensive as we do it because we're just, telling you, giving away the keys to the kingdom. But that's the way I like to do things. I mean, this podcast, I talk about it for my law firm videos. I do for consumers or for clients. I always just tell people what forms are needed. My ebook I have explains how to do a marriage case essentially. But that's the way I want to do it. It's a much deeper relationship. And along with the education component, there's 2 components, 2 pillars here. One is the education level has to be top notch. And then secondly, And along with that is the community aspect. So I want people to come the night before. We have dinner, go to a fancy restaurant, and break out in groups and talk, get to know each other. Because that relationship, when it comes to the mentors are going to be there, who are the speakers, or when it comes to referral basis, or having people that you can't always contact your mentor, but you have another person went to the course there too. They're struggling and learning this stuff as you. You could email them and say, hey, remember we talked about this? What was this? What was that rule? So you have help you create the friendships to help keep you going. That's what I did when I joined. Like when I started immigration law, I found a couple of people that are on my level and a couple people above me. And I would ask the people above me questions, but I didn't want to bother them. But I would go to people at my level and we'd brainstorm stuff too. And it's kind of like Comes Conference. We just do that for you. We help facilitate those relationships because life's really all about relationships and friendship. That's really what it comes down to for success in every aspect of life as a human being. So it's not only getting the education, but developing relationships. So we have the in-depth dinner, a great dinner night before, a full day conference with a party or drinks at the end of it, and the next morning having like a brunch. So it's 48 hours, almost like a retreat. That's intense, and that's why it's more expensive. But just you get more out of it, and there's more value. I think if we do the basic kind of 7 hours, this in Taki, you're gonna go. It's gonna be fun, maybe a party in Santa Monica and LA or something like that. But it's not what I want for you to become a better practitioner. The whole goal is to expand your ability to be a greater attorney, and that's the only way I can do it. That I know how to do it. And so, if you want RSVP, the links here. I keep changing the name of it, but I just changed it to the link. But just go to Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, and then on the above it talks about postgraduate training or the postgraduate training. That's the I keep changing the name from workshop to conference to postgraduate training. I'll probably change it again, but essentially go to immigrationtoolbox.com RSVP so you can be a name on the list. You're not paying for anything right now. I need to see what the people here, what states are coming from, all this kind of stuff to organize it. But probably going to be a focus on O, potentially a second visa category, but maybe just going hardcore O to get that down. And then the next one that pops up, we'll talk about L's, and then we'll go do a deep dive into L's. So come out of it with comfort. And that's what my other course, my marriage course, people tell me who students have signed up. They're like, okay, I feel comfortable even starting my own immigration practice based on knowing adjustment of status, consular processing, marriage, family kind of cases. And I want to bring that same level of attention to employment phase. So that's the long spiel of the conference. I'm really passionate about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And frankly, the smaller the group, the better. So we have intense dialogue there. And we can really help each other, where it's not like 60 people where we don't even know each other. It's like I can keep talking about that, but I want to leave it there. So just sign up. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun, just a lot of camaraderie and a lot of growth that's going to happen during that time. Also, check out the magazine, immigrationlawyers.com/magazine. It's been a lot of fun. We'll have a new one coming up in a month and a half, but I've even like marketed the magazine so much. We got so many downloads of it. So it's just the best thing out there for immigration lawyers. It's just constant. It is what it is. I got to be real. It's the best. So to go check that out. I want to thank the sponsor, DocuWise.com, who's been so helpful in supporting the podcast and the magazine as well. They support the immigration lawyers community with the software that they have when it comes to management, form preparation, everything. It's pretty much one of the best out there, if not the best. Just go to DocuWise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast and use the code immigration lawyers podcast to get additional 10% off. And as I mentioned, we have a marriage green card course that's excellent, and we have a lot of good students with office hours to follow up and everything like that. And along with the conference, we have a community page where you can ask more questions and follow up too. So that's there too once you join. So that's going to be really fun. I'll leave the intro stuff at that. As always, this is not intended for individual legal advice. Consult with an immigration attorney about your case. Thank you for listening through that. Let's jump into it. So what happened this week for me? NVC errors. I'm sure you deal with this a lot. I had 2 cases where the National Visa Center came back and then approved everything that we submitted, saying like whatever the okay is, approved or whatever, and then like nothing happened. So okay, it's approved. We're not getting DQ'd. In one of the cases, we wanted to expedite getting the appointment, so we emailed the National NVC portal and say, hey, could you expedite this case because we want to get it going? And they're like, oh, we can't. You still haven't submitted the divorce certificate. So we go back to page, divorce certificate is accepted, it's there. So we contact them back and say, listen, the divorce certificate's there. And they're like, oh no, you didn't submit the affidavit of support. But the page says affidavit of support was submitted. So now we're messaging them again and say, we're trying to ask for an expedite, but they're messing us so much. Every time I ask for the expedite, they're coming back and saying something's missing that's not missing. And that adds time to it. So the NVC is a disaster, unfortunately. COVID has really disrupted things. They shut down the phone lines, and now this. It really bizarre situation that we're dealing with, and clients are frustrated. I don't even know. I don't even know how to what it's mind blowing. It's like, how do these kind of errors happen? When we send everything, they accept it, and it's not the first time. This happens all the time where they do stuff like this. It's not all the time. I would say like 5% of the time, but when you deal with people's lives and stuff, 5% is 5%. So it's a pretty out of control situation that we're dealing with there. The second thing I wanted to talk about was this case that popped up in the Fourth Circuit, where they say the judge fabricated an immigrant's appeal waiver, which kind of out of control. The judge at the immigration judge level with the EOIR didn't give any time for the person to talk or appeal, translate stuff, and essentially railroaded them into just being deported. And they appealed to the fourth. The fourth says, we conclude that his 2011 removal hearing was fundamentally unfair. And that's Fourth Circuit coming to say that. That's excellent that they were paying attention to that. But it's so cruel that the judge was just just pushed him aside like this. So they say, it's quote, "It is easy to see why, if the government's reading held sway, the non-citizen will be stuck in a classic catch-22, live with the immigration judge's order and therefore be prevented from seeking voluntary departure, or attempt to appeal to error and foreclosure ability to seek voluntary departure anyway," the decision said. "The voluntary departure regulation's plain text does not require such a Kafkaesque result. In fact, it commands the opposite." So a real weird show. There might be a good case law to follow forth and other people look into. The case name is, where is the name? US v. Bonifacio Fernandez Sanchez. So US v. Sanchez. I mean, there's probably 1,000 US v. Sanchez's, but case number 20-4061, U.S. Court of Appeals, Fourth Circuit. Congrats to the attorney team. Sanchez, represented by Erin Margaret Trodden of the Office of the Federal Public Defender. God bless them, doing some good work there. The third thing, they got this blogger that was assisting, I guess a writer, they call him a blogger in the headline, but a New York City blogger told Manhattan federal court judge that they assisted two lawyers in creating fraudulent asylum applications to submit to USCIS, to U.S. immigration authorities. So they got faced a theoretical maximum sentence of 5 years. Apparently, there were these Russian lawyers that were working with them, with that person, to file these fake asylum claims. And it says Resnick agreed to forfeit $1,700, money he was paid for these efforts. So this person might go to like 5 years in jail for $1,700. It's like, dude, if you're gonna do some crimes, make sure you get paid more. But yeah, that's a weird situation. Unfortunately, it's asylum fraud. It's pretty frequent. When you see the numbers of asylum cases, a lot of it has to do with the border kind of stuff. But the last 10 years since I started practicing, the exponential growth of asylum claims. It's just, there's got to be a lot of false ones that are being filed, unfortunately, and it gums up the system, so it's not good, because the people with good situations they don't have anything, they don't have the time to be able to do their case. It sucks. Now, my firm did a bunch of graphics. I'm gonna share them on here because most people listen to audio. But we took a lot of statistics we found online, especially by this one Cato Institute study. So I thought I'd just read them off here if you haven't seen them. First, top 5 non-immigrant visa types issued in 2021. Tourist visas, 1.2 million. We should have done a chart that says out of the total here. But anyways, tourist visas, 1.2 million. The second goes to J1s that are less than half that, around 500,000. And then temporary worker and trainee visas. I think that's a catch-all for NIV work visas, around 500,000. And then after that, it drops to crew member visas. So when we think about visa categories, a tourist visa and student and cultural exchange, between the B, the F, and the J, they soak up probably, like, let's say 75 to 80% of visas issued. So most of the embassy work is related to those categories. And right now, this 2021, I'm surprised how many tourist visas were issued in 2021 because the low number of interviews that are happening. Another chart that popped up: immigrant visas issued in 2021 to top 10 countries. Mexico was the largest, and with a surprise, Dominican Republic was the number 2. I didn't realize numbers are so big for immigrant visas issued 2021. Third, it goes to the Philippines, not unexpected, but you would have thought like China would be it. Oh, actually, China is number 2. I'm sorry. So it's Mexico first, then China, then Dominican Republic, and then the Philippines. Like, yeah, surprised the bigger public if there are that many visas being issued that the visa reciprocity chart isn't messed up, but or they don't get those delays and stuff. Another one, longest U.S. tourist visa wait appointments in July. So how long it takes to get an appointment for a tourist visa in July? My team did a donut. We had a person on Twitter is like, it's a great chart, but a great information, but doing a donut chart for this is ridiculous. Which we made a donut chart, doesn't make sense. But essentially, Santiago, Chile, 886 days. Guyana 860, Nigeria 850, and I have Nigerian clients, so that's not good. Jamaica 788, I have those kind of clients too. So Jamaica has two. I'm sorry, Nigeria has Lagos 760, and Abuja 850, and Congo 796. So like essentially, let me do my math: 365 times two, 730 something. Let's say 2 years. So it takes 2 years to get a tourist visa appointment in these countries. Essentially, they're not giving them. And then the longest student visa appointment time is another donut graph chart we did, which not smart idea to do this on donut, but nonetheless, Armenia 635 days, almost 2 years for Armenia, which of the Iranian case one student visa is not a good place to go to. Bangladesh 500 plus, India 500 plus, Kenya 500 plus, Istanbul, Turkey 400 plus, and Abu Dhabi 300. So they said they're going to speed up your priority for student visas. I'm not sure if these timelines are correct, because I think I've seen people go to student visa appointments to be faster. And this really hits me hard because we have Iranian cases that want student visas in Yerevan, Istanbul, and not Abu Dhabi, but it shouldn't be Abu Dhabi. I would think student visa done by Dubai. But anyways, regardless, these are where they would go. So I got to keep that in mind when we're trying to talk about student visas with these people. It's just unlucky. But I don't know if things are necessarily accurate, even though the websites may say this on DOS, because I think they get these sooner, or you can request expedites and the like. So that was number 3. Number 4, or number that was number 4. Number 5, China suspending removal acceptance. So Gary Todorov is a great attorney. He has practice in China. You should join his newsletter. He has a lot of good information that pops up there. But we had one article he wrote that apparently, as a tic tac for when Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan and offended the Chinese, they're coming back and according and again he read it and stuff, but apparently China is suspending accepting removal of people. So if you get removed from the United States, you're Chinese, they won't accept that person being returned, which is a big deal. I think Trump had made it where if you don't accept them, we're not going to give you the ability to get a tourist visa. I think Vietnam got hit with that too, or something like that. I don't remember the details, but that's the case. That's going to create a lot of problems for immigration if they decide to enforce them that way with China, if this is the case. So just give a heads up. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. It might be just a temporary blip that goes. But there's escalations that happen in other aspects of human endeavors always end up hitting us in the immigration field. So we kind of have to watch out for all political science and political economic things that happen. Number 6, case status online now working. Okay, so one thing that I do, I don't use anything USCIS online because like I don't trust it. But I had this account I set up 10 years ago where every time I get a case number, I can log into USCIS.gov under a special screen name I have with them that's separate from the ELIS or whatever kind of account we have. And I can input the case number in there and say, okay, send me text or email reminders when there's movement on this case. So if they get an RFE, if the fingerprints are accepted, if they're approved or denied, whatever it is, I not 80% of the time get an email. It's not consistent. But when I talked about this like last week or so, where I said the system had gone down, I couldn't log in, and then it came back and I could log in. So I was like, okay, go and do that. But my associate went to create her account and it wouldn't let her. Apparently, I'm a holdover from old things, but if you try to log in and create an account now, it goes to the whole new system that they have, which doesn't give you this good version of updates on what's going on with the case. So unfortunately, if you don't have the status, the case profile already, it may not work. But that's that. Number 7, I give a lot of consultations about the form IA-24 because I do a lot of videos on YouTube about him, and so I get a lot of people who mess up. So there's 2 scenarios. One is they file an I-130 and they list they want to do adjustment of status, where in fact they're doing consular processing, and then they got to do an I-24 to go. Or alternatively, they're filing for adjustment of status employment based, and their spouse or children overseas, so they need to file an I-24 to get the case once it's done overseas, so the rest of the family could do follow to join. So 2 situated. One is one person listened to me, filed the IA-24, they followed up, and they didn't use my office, self-filed it, but they said they got the IA-24 approved in 3 months, which is great because I don't have any of these approved in 3 months. I have many pending 6+ months. So that does happen. I don't tell people that's possible, even though it should be. I mean, I-24 should be just a matter of them moving your file to another place. But, we're dealing with agency. It is what it is. But secondly, someone messaged me and said, hey, I submitted the I-824 with my I-485 filing and it was returned. You're giving bad advice. But it's not bad advice. And I've had several law firms think it's bad advice too. But if you go to the USCIS policy manual, there's a footnote that says you can file the I-24 with the I-485. And so that's the way to do it because it locks in children's aids in particular for the Child Status Protection Act. So it's malpractice if you don't do it. So I told the guy, listen, I didn't see your case. You might have just filed the wrong filing fee or something like that. Or, the lockbox, they didn't know any better. I would have put it past them. So they return it. It's clear USCIS error, refile it, and that's that. Number 8, I talked about this one case a couple weeks ago where someone did a marriage adjustment interview and ICE came in and picked them up. And, for immigration lawyers who do married family cases, that's like a nightmare scenario for that to happen. And we got some more facts. Apparently, there's accusations of criminal activity or being witness to criminal activity, this and that. And the attorney said that the person tried to post bond. Bond was denied. They're being detained still. So there are other facts in there that cause such a extreme scenario of being picked up during an adjustment of status interview. So it's not as scary for our typical cases, but our job is to be paranoid and get really scared so we can watch out for clients. And that's what I'm here to do, scare the bejesus out of you so you pay more attention and I pay more attention. Number 9. Okay, going to non-legal stuff per se, but what do you do about all these emails? I don't have an answer to this. My associate took a vacation, and during the vacation, she stopped to answer emails because, if I don't, I'm gonna come back to 1,000 emails. And same with my wife. When we take vacations, she'll still check. She's in-house counsel for a company. She'll still check her emails because she's like, I'm just postponing a work. So instead of, I'm gonna have a week of vacation, and the week after, I'm doing 2 weeks worth of work. So yeah, I just want to get the emails down. But how do you deal with that? There's consultants who say that you need to hire a staffer that goes through email for you and organizes it so you don't have to deal with this much, or they answer the ones they can. But I'm kind of hesitant to do that, to give a lawyer's email and that kind of sensitive stuff to a third party. It's not a lawyer to do. Maybe if you have another attorney in your firm who can look over it, but it's just such a personal thing to give out your email to other people. But at the same time, the more successful you become, the bigger you get, the more emails are going to inflow, and how to deal with that. It's a nightmare. So I don't really have an answer for that, other than have someone else check your email and give you those important stuff, which is what some business people do. But I'm not sure if I can pull that off yet, at least. Number 10, when it comes to marketing, Instagram was a great place to do marketing, and I used to do a couple posts there and get a case from it a month. It's 2019 or something. And then I finally decided to buckle down and take advantage of Instagram and start posting there a lot. But by the time I did, they changed the algorithm and nothing came up. So it really slowed down conversions and case growth based on Instagram. LinkedIn has been one part, which I've been fairly active at. I'm one of the more active lawyers on LinkedIn. But my goal is to be consistently active there because there's a lot of business opportunity. And there's no immigration lawyers doing it other than Bob Weber and Roman Zelichenko, or maybe one or two other people. I even a couple years ago did a top 10 list of the people we should follow on LinkedIn. But recently, it's picked up. Several other immigration lawyers have popped in, so my LinkedIn feed is constant with immigration lawyers saying stuff. It's good material. so, um, it's just in one sense, I'm giving information out so you to compete with me and using LinkedIn or writing good stuff, not just posting or reposting blogs or something like that. But it's interesting to see that media is being picked up and being used, just like TikTok took a while for immigration lawyers to get on top of, but they're dominating that now. LinkedIn's it. Who knows? Another year or two, there's gonna be another app that comes out. You can jump on that, but that's something to be prepared for. So I want to thank everyone for listening. I had a whole comedy routine I was gonna do, but I don't necessarily feel like it right now. It's not a routine per se. I was just gonna complain about stuff, but I'll leave that for another time. I don't want this one's getting too long. Already going past 20 minutes. I think the conference is going to be a game changer for you and your practice. I really believe that. I think it's going to do it. If you want to take these next level, get this extra case on your banner, on your belt. And even if you're already doing it, if you want to learn to a beginner, intermediate to the next level, we're going to have experts there that you could ask questions from. And between the mix of having beginner immigration lawyers on this topic and more intermediate ones, the mix of questions is really going to help promote both of it. Because the beginner people ask some questions, intermediate people didn't think about. The intermediate people are going to ask more complex questions that's going to open their eyes to the beginners, and that relationship is going to happen, which I think is going to be a big deal. And we're going to have speakers who focus on different areas of O1. So I really think it's going to take your practice next level, especially if you focus on O1s alone. Maybe we'll add an L, but L might be too much. Maybe leave that for the next conference. But go to the RSVP page, go to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com, click on the postgraduate study link, and just RSVP so I get a number of how many people are coming. Because I do want to keep it small, because the more people they are, the less we can get to your individual question and just have that relationship. If we go to dinner, if it's 40 people, there's no way we could all talk to each other as that big a group. So we want to keep it small. And so I just want to see what number is and when the cutoff is and all that kind of stuff. So just go to immigrationtoolbox.com and catch it there. And yeah, see y'all soon. Bye-bye.